Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. Today is the beginning of the week and we've got lots to discuss with you. So without further ado, these are the stories that we will be discussing during the course of the show. We'll begin with the tensions between Israel and Palestine that have been worsening. It is being said that this is a catastrophic intelligence failure by Israel. 493 Palestinians have been killed, 2,750 have been wounded. Also, the Israeli side is claiming that, the Palestinian side is claiming others numbers and figures as well. The supplies to Gaza have also been cut off by Israel. The Prime Minister says there is a need to address the Palestine question. Will that Palestine question be in fact addressed under the current circumstances? We all know about the atrocities that Palestine has been subjected to since the last decades, but this time, because of the Hamas uprising, will that create a new angle to the Israel-Palestinian tensions? This is going to be our first story. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the earthquake that struck the western regions of Afghanistan. 2,000 people almost have been killed, more than 9,000 people have been injured. Relief goods have also been dispatched by Pakistan. How is Afghanistan reeling because of these earthquakes that have struck Afghanistan since Saturday? And how is Afghanistan going to move forward under the current circumstances? This is going to be our second story. Then we're going to talk about the positive trend as far as dollar and gold is concerned. A glimmer of hope, of course, that we have been seeing since the last few days and weeks as well, with the rupee gaining ground versus the dollar, and now also the gold that is stabilizing. Smuggling operations, it is being said, is one of the reasons why the rupee has stabilized, and of course the US dollar has gone now down to rupees 280 from rupees 330. Then we are going to talk about this Supreme Court of Pakistan that has resumed the Practice and Procedure Act 2023 hearing. The bill aims to ensure proceedings within the apex court. Of course, the Chief Justice of Pakistan says that today is going to be the last hearing as far as this case is concerned. He also has stated that the Parliament's stand is enhancing its jurisdiction. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the World Post Day that is being celebrated all across the world today, including in Pakistan. 9th of October is the World Post Day. This was decided by a UPU Congress that was held in Japan in 1969. Since that year, this World Post Day is commemorated, celebrated every year on this very day. The UPU has 192 members as far as this organization is concerned. The theme for this year of the World Post Day is Together for Trust and Collaborating for a Safe and Connected Future. Let's begin with our first segment, ladies and gentlemen, and that concerns the Israel-Palestinian issue. The tensions are increasing, the casualties are also increasing. Will the world rise up to the occasion? Will it help Palestine and the factions to come to some kind of a solution? More in the following report.
The Hamas resistance group fired thousands of rockets and sent dozens of fighters into illegal Israeli settlements and towns near the Gaza fence in an unprecedented surprise early morning attack during a major Jewish holiday on Saturday, killing dozens and capturing some 100 Israelis and stunning Tel Aviv. The shocking assault on Simchat Torah, one of the most joyous holidays of the Jewish calendar, recalled the surprise of the 1973 Middle East War, in which Arab countries made some major gains. Practically 50 years earlier to the day, a full-scale Egyptian-Syrian attack on a Jewish holiday, which correlated that year with the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, quickly turned into a disaster for an unprepared Israeli military. Now, the question of how the resistance groups were able to stage such a huge and coordinated attack, which has already killed more Israelis than any single assault since the Second Palestinian Uprising 2 decades ago, without triggering Israeli intelligence concerns, has already presented a major challenge to Netanyahu's government. The Israeli government supporters had expected Netanyahu and hardline ministers with a history of anti-Arabic rhetoric to take particularly belligerent stance against the Palestinians and respond to more forcefully threats. To take a particularly belligerent stance against the Palestinians and respond more forcefully to the threats from the fighters in besieged Gaza. But the Israeli political analyst lambasted Netanyahu over the failure, and as the casualties count climbs, Netanyahu risks losing control of both his government and the country. Hamas claimed its fighters took several Israelis captive in the enclave. It said the senior Israeli military officers were among the captives. The videos could not be immediately verified, but matched the geographic features of the area. In a dramatic escalation unseen in decades, Hamas also sent paragliders flying into Israel, the Israeli military said. Hamas officials cite long simmering sources of aggression from Israel against Palestinians, including the continuous storming of the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, which is sacred to Muslims. Last year was seen as one of the deadliest years for Palestinians at the hands of Israel since the occupation of their territories by the Jewish state.
To discuss more on this issue, we've been joined by two guests, one in the studio, one online. In the studios, we've got AVM Ijaz Malik Saab. He's a senior analyst. Thank you very much, AVM Saab, to have joined us. Pleasure to have you here in the studios. And online, we've been joined by Nour Odeh. She's a political analyst from Palestine. Thank you very much, Nour, to have joined us. Nour, let's begin with you. In your point of view, what are the objectives in the operation that was launched by Hamas in Israel, and what are going to be the consequences?
Well, the consequences have been devastating, just as the reality of occupation is devastating for the Palestinians. We heard from Hamas leaders saying that the objectives are quite clear and simple. Israel must release all Palestinians it now imprisons. There are approximately 6,000 Palestinians in Israeli prisons for political reasons. Those include up to 700 children, up to 1,000 who are jailed without cause or trial, and up to 600 or so of the gravely and terminally ill. So that's one demand. The other demand, of course, which is the overarching demand of Hamas and all other groups, is to end the Israeli occupation, to have Israel withdraw from the West Bank, end the blockade on Gaza, and allow Palestinians to have a state of their own, sovereign and independent living in dignity. That's really as simple as it is. The reality that Israel has imposed on Palestinians is untenable, and that's why you see a complete breakdown at this point, given that there was no horizon for a political process.
All right, Nour, I'd also like to understand how this operation has impacted the Israeli military and civilian areas. What have been the resulting casualties and the reaction from the Israeli side? Of course, we've seen the reaction. We've seen that the Israeli side is saying that this is a war-like situation. They have invoked a certain article as well. How do you see this escalating? Do you feel that this is going to reach a boiling point if it hasn't already?
Well, what is happening is really epic. I think that's the only way to describe it. Israel was caught off guard. There was a huge intelligence and military failure that it will have to answer to its citizens at some point. But at this point, I think the worrying thing is that Israel feels emboldened and it feels supported by international powers to unleash hell on Gaza. Over 500 Palestinians have already killed. A third of them are children. There are entire neighborhoods that are being wiped out as we speak. And there is nowhere for people in Gaza to go. There are no shelters. There is nowhere to seek safety. And you have the Israeli Minister of Defense now saying that water, electricity, fuel, and everything will be cut off from Gaza, and describing Palestinians as human animals. That's the kind of criminal intent that we're dealing with, and without intervention, I fear that the situation will go from bad to catastrophe.
All right, but when you say from bad to catastrophic, we all know as far as Gaza and operation on Gaza is concerned, 5 operations on Gaza have happened. The largest one that lasted 51 days, if I'm not wrong. I hope you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Will the world, Nour, will the world react to what is happening now? We see a lot of polarity as far as the reactions coming from the world is concerned. A lot of them are siding with Israel despite the past of Israeli barbarities into Palestine. What now? What are you foreseeing?
Well, I think what we're facing now is even worse than that assault that you mentioned in 2014. And I fear that it might last even more than 51 days. at this point, I think there's a lot that can be done. The Organization of Islamic Conference can move. Arab and Muslim states and states in Latin America and Asia can mobilize to pressure European capitals, to pressure a different kind of conversation, a different path towards reaching as a resolution, not one where only guns stop, but one where we talk about how to end this cycle once and for all. And the only way to end it is to end the occupation.
All right, kindly stay online with us, Noor. We've also been joined in the studios by AVM Ijaz Malik Sahab. AVM Sahab, do you see this conflict ending anytime soon? This new chapter in the casualties, and this new chapter in the tensions between Israel and Palestine, this new chapter into Hamas entering into Israeli territories?
In my opinion, right now this issue is under masking. It's being masked by the smoke screen. We do not have the two concurrently prevalent opinions. One is that it's a daring step by Hamas because there have been massive brutalities, no denial on that. Nobody, no sane person or media could ever deny that. And obviously, once they have undergone that kind of brutal treatment by Israel over past decades, so this was a natural outcome of that. And there are some Muslim countries who are very, very jubilant about it. There are public opinion in support of that. But world at large, as our worthy panelist, Ma'am Noor has highlighted, world at large is in two poles. It's polarized. There are open support to Israel, and they say that it's their right to their own protection, that they can do anything. Even their the United Nations permanent envoy, Israeli envoy there, he said that we will eliminate any threat and every threat to our protection, which is is a danger for our people, our citizens.
But AVM sir, but does this mean that there's going to be an increase as far as the intensity of this war-like situation between Israel and Palestine is concerned?
The other opinion is that somehow Hamas has been embroiled into a situation where maybe there are some analysts who refer to it as the false flag operations, and they say that Hamas has been made to believe that this is a sustainable option for them, and they can achieve their objective, their stated objectives, which is of course a peaceful solution of the problem. The United Nations has passed a resolution about two state in this region, and release of over 5,000 plus prisoners who are being, belongs to all age groups, fragile, ailing children, and they want some solution to get them out of, Israeli forces, camps or jails, whatever you call them. But we have to see that is it sustainable? The escalation ladder, while Israel has multiple options, what options are there on the side, the other opponent side, on the Hamas side, that do they have logistics, do they have wherewithal to sustain the conflict for a longer time? Because right now, other than one odd Muslim country who have just given a clear moral support, and Hezbollah is entered in I would say in a partially into the conflict, how are they going to sustain? That's a big question.
All right. Speaking of sustainability, let's talk about another angle as well, political and psychological repercussions for both the sides, for Israel as well as for Palestine as a result of this operation. I understand Israel was not, was caught off guard as far as this Hamas operation is concerned. What will be the repercussions? Because a lot of people are also calling this Israel's failure to some extent because of the fact that it did not apprehend this to happen. How do you see things unfolding?
Exactly, regardless that how and why was it started. But the net result is that the optics of this entire operation, it has raised many questions about Israel's, that professional armies myth, their overall defense structure. There are questions, for example, people are asking, the Analyst word over, it is very actively being pursued in the Western media, that why couldn't they do a proper ISR arrangement? Where is that structure which was supposed to monitor this entire region 24/7 with state-of-the-art technologies, which are indigenous technologies of Israel itself, their defense industry. Secondly, how could Hamas gather in mass such weaponry that they caught these people unguarded, unaware? Again, that means what is their combat readiness to respond to any situation? Thirdly, their hardware like their tanks and APCs, their exposure to the threats. And last but not the least, in every conflict zone, you grant the best option to your enemy. Was this option ever given to the Palestinians or Hamas or anybody in the region? That means they never contemplated this thing, that somebody could challenge their might in the region. So they were caught unaware. That's the main question.
Do you feel that Israel's vulnerabilities have been exposed to the international body of nations as well as a result of this operation?
Definitely, and given their internal politics, the coalition government and the kind of structure they have in place in Israel now, they have to answer their political, whoever is holding them accountable, and their public at large, that after so much of spending and so much of support from Zionist lobby all over the world, and one superpower, sole superpower standing behind them, what have they delivered in time of need?
But isn't this operation raising a lot of question marks as to the past operations that Israel has been inflicting on Palestine since the last decades? Do you feel this will re-raise the whole Israel-Palestinian issue anew? Do you feel there is going to be some kind of a pledge to find a durable solution to this issue? Or do you feel this is just going to last on and on till such time that there is ceasefire?
It would depend, in my opinion, it will depend how the other members of UN Security Council permanent member, they respond to it. And it will be, I think, a very good return or dividend of all the sacrifices they have been giving, and current situation also, there have been massive strikes on them. Reportedly, the special meeting which was convened day before on the call of the Brazil, in that there hasn't been any joint communique so far, and it is being reported through reliable sources in media that probably it has been non-conclusive, and some powers, presumably Russia, they have not agreed to any solution other than giving a new look and re-look over the entire issue. They say that it should not be considered a standalone incident or just a local problem, but it should be seen in the context of the entire Middle Eastern problem, which has been looming for ages now.
So, last question. Sorry, we're a bit short of time for this segment, but I'd like to understand how important is the role of the Arab League, whose emergency meeting has been called by Palestine at the ministerial level, and the OIC under the current circumstances?
Always in such situations, we have a lot of expectations from OIC and other forums of Muslim Ummah, but if past experience is any reference, I don't foresee any strong step taken by them, because the major player in that, UAE and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they are obviously they would like to abstain from any such resolution which categorically condemn the Israeli side.
All right, thank you very much, AVM. Ijaz, Malik, senior analyst, to have joined us, to have talked to us about this huge war-like situation as enunciated by the Israeli side between Israel and Palestine as a result of the operation carried out by Hamas inside of Israeli territories. The impact of it is going to be huge, it's going to be long-term. What is the impact exactly going to be? Maybe in a few days' time we'll know more about what the reaction actual in military sense is going to be like. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. Let's come to our second story, and that concerns the earthquakes that have struck Afghanistan in the last few days. The first on Saturday, the second recently, and of course it has had a very disastrous impact on Afghanistan as far as the scores of people who have perished as a result of this. 2,000 have been killed, more than 9,000 people have been injured. Zahir Shah, senior journalist, joins us online. Zahir Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Was Afghanistan ready to be impacted by earthquakes as powerful as the ones that struck it on Saturday?
Well, I don't think so, because the information which is coming out from the Herat province, which is badly hit, at least 6 districts have totally been hit, and the number of casualties, they have surpassed more than 2,000. And we have spoken to one of the information ministry's spokesman, Abdur Wahid Rehan, and he has confirmed that over 2,000 people have died, more than 1,500 others injured, and thousands of houses they had turned into rubble. And also he has appealed to the international community as well as the UN agencies to provide a helping hand. An important thing is that most of those rescue workers who are involved in the rescue and relief operation, they are untrained, and this tragedy is increasing because of the untrained staff there. So they have appealed to most of the UN agencies, the WHO and the Red Crescent, that trained manpower should be dispatched to those areas which are hit. At least 2 districts, one of them is Gorian and other is Zindanajan, that has been totally demolished, and the entire population have lost their lives almost. Many people are still buried under the rubble. At this moment, we have spoken also to some of the relief workers there. They are saying the Red Crescent has established a hospital there, Herat, but still it is not possible to cater to the needs of all those people. So it's a huge disaster. The Afghan government has appealed to the UN agencies, the neighboring countries, and Pakistan and Iran has also offered their assistance and send rescue workers as well as the rescue teams, but still these teams are yet to be dispatched.
Zahir Saab, there has been a lot of humanitarian and humanitarian related issues in Afghanistan since the Afghan interim government took power in 2021. Do you feel this is going to be to severely exacerbate the current humanitarian crisis as well, because Afghanistan is already encountering different issues on that front?
Well, obviously, most of the UN agencies, they are not operating. Only the UN humanitarian assistance and food assistance is being provided. There is an embargo on the, other UN agencies or the international community to go there. The NGOs' activities are totally halted. Last year, in 2022, there was also a huge earthquake in the eastern part of Afghanistan, which had also left more than 1,000 people dead. But overall, if we see the 2 countries which can provide a helping hand on emergency basis, one is Iran and the other is Pakistan. Herat province is on the border with Iran, so much is being expected that Iranian government is likely to dispatch and help out those people. But overall, if we see the humanitarian crisis as well as the law and order situation still, because the militant activities going on, the ISK, the TTP and other foreign militant groups, they are also posing a serious challenge to the UN network which is operating there. But still, we have seen the WHO, the Red Crescent, as well as the UN Agency for Relief, it is operating in Afghanistan, and they've also sent their teams to the affected areas. But still a lot of assistance is needed because it's again a huge humanitarian and you can say that a crisis which has hit Afghanistan and the international community as well as the neighboring countries. China has also offered to provide food and relief assistance. Pakistan and Iran has also extended their promises to send the relief teams to the affected areas. But as you have said, it's not the one thing. Apart from other issues, this national disaster has also badly hit the Afghan nation.
That is so true. But do you feel countries that have not had proper diplomatic relations with Afghanistan since the interim government took over might, come to the rescue of the Afghan people under the current circumstances?
Well, the humanitarian assistance is still going on. Still, there is no diplomatic relation, but China do has diplomatic contacts with Afghanistan.
Those countries who do not have, for example, countries in the West that do not have proper diplomatic relations with Afghanistan, will they come to Afghanistan's rescue under the current circumstances? What's your take on that?
Well, actually, if on ground we see the UN system is still intact, the US soldiers' presence is there, so the UN agencies are operating. So obviously, the countries which do not have any diplomatic relation, they can also work under the UN umbrella. So already we have a system of humanitarian help inside Afghanistan, so they can provide assistance under the UN umbrella. As far as the neighboring countries are concerned, I think Pakistan, Iran, China, and even to some extent India can help and assist those people. So I don't think so there would be much of the trouble in providing assistance to the affected population. But still, yes, there are technical problems in pursuing a proper diplomatic front if these countries are directly sending any relief items to those countries. Saudi Arabia is likely to help out. Other Muslim countries, they have also extended. But at this moment, the Afghan government is appealing again and again to the UN agencies as well as to the neighboring countries to extend all-out help in such thing. And the important issue is of sending the technically and trained staff to help out those people, because the staff which is present there, they are untrained, they are facing problems, and they are not used to tackle such like situations. So this is the main problem which the Afghan rescue workers are facing.
All right. From the seismic front, do you feel there are other earthquakes that could happen? Is there any prediction as far as that is concerned in Afghanistan?
Well, the seismological department as well as the international seismological network, they've said that there were 5 aftershocks soon after this earthquake, which was recorded at 6.3 magnitude, and it has also affected the Badghis and Farah provinces. But at this moment, we haven't received any information so far. But the meteorological international meteorological institutes are saying still there might be some aftershocks, because in Afghanistan, eastern Afghanistan, in 2022, the aftershocks were continuing for several days. And the Hindu Kush region, which is mostly believed to be the center of this, epicenter of this earthquake again. At this moment, we haven't have such reports, but still they are feeling that there might be some aftershocks. How much strong they could be, it's just like the matter of time how they are getting to record it.
All right. As far as the casualties are concerned, what are the latest figures exactly as far as the number of dead and the number of injured are concerned?
Well, what we have spoken to Abdul Wahid Rehan, who is a spokesperson for the Ministry of Information and Culture in Afghanistan, he has confirmed that more than 2,054 people have died. At least 1,500 others, they are seriously injured. More than at least what we can say, according to him, more than 15,000 houses has totally been demolished. 6 districts are badly hit. 2 of them are, totally flooded, and there is likely that the number of casualties might increase because a lot of people are still trapped under the rubble, and the rescue workers are trying to reach them and take out those injured or the dead from the debris. But with the passage of time, it's likely he's also fearing that the number of casualties might rise as they start digging the rubble and take out the injured or the dead from the flattened houses.
Thank you very much, Zahir Shah, a senior journalist, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the situation as far as Afghanistan is concerned, post these 2 earthquakes that have rattled Afghanistan. The number of casualties are increasing, the number of dead and the number of injured, of course, are increasing. Pakistan is offering support, so are other countries in the region, and of course the United Nations also there, but not as in the same strength as maybe it was required. The Afghan interim government is appealing to the United Nations bodies to, as Zahir Shah has also said, to help them as much as they can. Let's hope the help comes in time. Let's hope we can save as many people as we can in Afghanistan. Let's come to our next story, and that concerns the dollar and gold positive trend in Pakistan. Pakistani experts believe that the economic indicators as far as Pakistan is concerned are going to start moving in the right direction once the Pakistani currency gets its real worth, strength and stability. The Federal Minister for Finance, Dr. Shamshad Akhtar, has said the foreign exchange reserve position was stable. She added that exchange companies' reform and anti-smuggling operations did stabilize the rupee. The stability came without any bank interventions, she said, and also, of course, the gold rates that are improving. Dr. Vaqar Ahmed, Joint Executive Director, SDPI, joins us online. Dr. Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Dr. Saab, what, in your point of view, have been the major factors that have contributed to the stability of the Pakistani rupee vis-a-vis the dollar?
Yes, thank you very much, Ommar Saab, for having me. I think 2 factors are primary here. One is the administrative action, which, of course, we have taken, and these include, of course, the crackdown on the black market in the foreign currency, which was prevalent for some time. And there were speculator agents and speculative practices which were at play. But the second is also the market sentiment. The fact that market wanted to see a strong action against the black market, and those sentiments are gradually now improving. So people themselves are offloading foreign currency, and the value has been coming down, and some are expecting that it is going to come down even further. And the former finance minister, Mr. Dar, has recently said that it could come down to as low as 244 to a dollar.
All right, Dr. Vaqar, also, do you feel that the government's crackdown on dollar smuggling and hoarding has significantly impacted this change, or there are other factors that have also equally contributed?
I think this is the primary factor in the short run. The fact that there was excessive hoarding and the regulators were unable to check on their own, and they wanted administrative support, which of course has come in the shape of this crackdown. But now, of course, going forward, I think the other dimension of your question is that can the dividends rendered by this crackdown, can those dividends be sustained? And that comes to the capacity of the regulators, the central bank, the SEC, FIA. They all need to keep this check so that anyone involved in such practices should not raise their heads again.
All right, Dr. Vaqar, what long-term measures do you feel, in your point of view, does the government or the next government that comes after the elections next year needs to take to combat illegal economic activities? Do you feel there needs to be a continuity of the activities that are going on currently as far as the hoarding and stopping the hoarding and smuggling is concerned? What more needs to be done?
Yes, I think 3 areas are important here. One is, as I said, this crackdown needs to be on a continuous basis. The oversight must remain, and for this, FIA needs to keep a very vigilant eye. The other aspect is around trade and protecting our trade routes through the land route, basically. So customs in this case, FBR will need to really step up here and will need to secure our border posts, our land routes, trade posts, so that informal or illegal trading should not take place. And the government has already taken measures to tighten the border controls with Afghanistan already. The third and the final point that I want to make is that in the longer term, both these things are not sufficient. These could be short to medium solutions, but in the longer term, you can only sustain a decent value of your currency. You can stabilize your currency if you have non-debt creating inflows coming. You need to work on your remittances. You need to improve the confidence of your diaspora so that they start sending their proceeds again through the formal channels. You need to work on reviving the interest of exporting community. Exporters need to be given the confidence that they can bring their dollar proceeds back into the country. You also need to work on foreign direct investment. So revival of CPEC, for example, is very important so that forex, sustained flows of forex should start coming back again.
All right. How important is the stability as far as the gold rates are also concerned? Looking at the current way the government is moving towards crackdowns on all the illegal smuggling, do you feel that has had an impact on the gold rates as well?
Yes, absolutely, because the gold market had a huge grey content, which has already come into the limelight when Pakistan was graduating from the status. And we have already introduced a tax regime in which all those who are dealing in gold have to declare. It's just that those who are not on the radar, government crackdown has to now identify them. Either they should be given the time to formalize their activities or they should be shut down permanently.
Now, Dr. Vaqar, also how important is the legalization or proper surveillance of the Afghan transit trade to also make our economy, put our economy into a better place to stabilize our economy?
Yes, I think the recent measures to regulate Afghan trade properly was a long-standing demand of our genuine business community who has been hurt by the incidents of smuggling that takes place in the Afghan trade. But having said this, again, I go back that customs will have to really expedite and step up their efforts. The implementation of Pakistan's single window PSW would help in keeping a check on the flow of goods. But in the longer term, we have to be mindful that we cannot continue to keep on increasing the duties on goods coming from Afghanistan because that becomes a natural incentive for smuggling. What we need to do is to build the capacity of customs, build track and trace systems to keep our oversight stronger.
All right, Dr. Vaqar, thank you very much to have joined us. That was Dr. Vaqar Ahmed, Joint Executive Director, SDPI, talking to us about the stability of the Pakistani rupee versus the US dollar. And of course, the gold rates are also stabilizing as a result of all the activities that have been undertaken by the current government along with the different organizations that the current state of Pakistan's economy is slowly and steadily stabilizing, and also the proper surveillance and control as far as the Afghan transit trade is concerned. Let's come to our last two stories very quickly. The first concerns the full court hearing regarding the Supreme Court Practice and Procedure Act 2023. The full court bench is being headed by the Chief Justice of Pakistan, Qazi Faiz Issa, includes full court judges as well. During the hearing, the SCBA President, that is the Supreme Court Bar Association President, Abid Zubairi, also quoted a verdict of a New Jersey court to defend his objections of the law. The Chief Justice of Pakistan did express his displeasure and said at least cite the decision of the US Supreme Court. The bench also questioned why everyone surrendered when martial laws were imposed, but agitated when Parliament passed laws and challenged them in courts. The Justice Faiz Issa also said the Parliament's stand is that it is not usurping the rights of the Supreme Court, but enhancing its jurisdiction. This, of course, is an important hearing as far as the Supreme Court of Pakistan is concerned, and also for democracy in a country like Pakistan is concerned. Let's come to our last story, and that concerns the World Post Day that is being celebrated every year on this very day, that is the 9th of October, the anniversary of the establishment of the Universal Post Union that happened in 1874 in the Swiss capital of Bern. Now, in 1969, it was declared that today, the 9th of October, will be declared as the World Post Day by the UPU Congress that was was held in Tokyo in Japan. The UPO currently has 192 members. Pakistan Post, of course, our postal service, also joined the UPO as its 89th member on the 10th of November 1947, just a few months after it became independent. Pakistan Post, of course, as you all know, is one of the oldest departments in the subcontinent with 160 years of history in the collection and delivery system. The theme this year, ladies and gentlemen, is Together for Trust, Collaborating for a Safe and Connected Future. That is what the Post does. It connects you to all your loved ones, to all your friends, and to your family. So, of course, today's is extremely important. You know, Post has always had an important role, even in today's role of social media. We do get a lot of letters, we do get a lot of cards from across the world and from across Pakistan. So, the importance of the postal services across the world, including in Pakistan, has not diminished. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new story segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.